Hello and welcome to RC Birds, and thanks for stopping by. In this video I'm planning to do back B and back C of the build of my MF-01X chassis. The last video was for my taste a little bit too long, so I tried to keep it short, but I had already prepared everything. You can see it here in the background. Cutting out and sending the parts might be not so interesting for the user. The first steps for back B are pretty straightforward. It's a front differential, some gears, shafts and bearings, or bushings if you use the standard ones, the left side of the front gearbox, and adding the differential. And then we come to the second part, where I do a little break and tell you a little bit about the length of the chassis, the difference and the main differences for the main drive shaft if you're using ball bearings and not the standard bushings which come along with the kit. So the front part of the car is done. Now I get to steps 16 and 17, which is the length of the chassis. And you can see here in the manual the F length with 210 millimeter, the M length with 225 millimeters. This is the car I have, and the L length with a 239 millimeters. And the definition of the length, first for the chassis, is this part. This has every chassis. Then in the S version, this isn't here. I have this short plastic one, and for L is the big plastic one. Now let's come to the second thing that defines the length, which is a main propeller shaft. And this is the reason why you can't change in one kit the length of the chassis. They only give you one propeller shaft. They all have different length. In my case, with the M chassis, I have 188 millimeter in length. This is easy. Here it's shown how you do it with a plastic bushing. And if you go on ball bearings, you have to recognize this thing here. You get a flanged ball bearing. This is the first different. Here it's just the 850 bushing. And the second thing is, if you see the pin here, then comes the bushing, then the plastic ring. For the ball race version, it's the other way around. The pin, the plastic ring, and then the flanged ball bearing. So for step 17, I have to watch here. And you can see right here that it's very important to read the manual incomplete before you start with the build. So, back B is done. I will clean up the car or the chassis, wash my hands, and we see us again for back C. So now it's time to do back C. For back C I already had prepared some parts. Back C is about the rear suspension arms, and for this there are coming along some upgrades I like to do in this build. So it's time for a little bit more waffling than in back B. For these parts you have to pay attention on the markings. For step 20 I have to add some shims because these arms are a little bit sloppy. I hope I can show you this before I put in the screws. There's a little bit of slop, and these standard Tamiya washers, 3 mm, one will fit in here, and then I should be good to go. No more slop, but also it doesn't fall down like you know it from the other trailing arms of other cars, because it's now really tight. Step 21 are the shocks, and I had already built up one. Here it is. This isn't the best thing. I use these ones which are coming for the TT chassis. They have the same length, 55 mm from eye to eye. I first wanted some other shocks made out of aluminium and blinky blue. These cost only a third of the Tamiya price, but they are too long. But as many had said, buy cheap, get cheap. For the rear ones, we need some spacers. I hadn't prepared this because I don't want to get confused because of the many parts which are lying here. The thing is, they don't put enough ball ends into the kit of the shocks, or at least the ball ends which fit for the TT01 on T202, but not for the M chassis. So I found some in my screw box, and I hope this will work. I let the screw bite in some threads before I use this tool. It's easier to work with it. These silver ones are long enough. I don't have silver ones anymore. They say use 3 screws, but I don't use the antenna holder, so it's only 2 screws and not the C10 part. Now for step 24, you have to know if you want to build the high ground clearance or the low ground clearance. I'm going with the low ground clearance, so the upper part isn't for me, but here I start. No, this won't work. So for now, back C is done. My next video will be about back D and the painting, and then the car is done. So if you stayed with me until here, I thank you for watching. If you got some questions, the comment section is yours. And as always, please like, share and subscribe. See you soon on RC Birds.